I want to do a longer one. I'll throw it to you because I want to. Little hint, like I'm throwing it to you just so I can answer after you. But so this is from Rome 8180 again. Uh, why do advanced stats seem to suggest Evan Mobley is bad? I know there's something wonky going on with Cleveland's on-offs, which we alluded to earlier. But some of the advanced metrics like Raptor don't like him either. Also, has he made any substantive improvements since his first season? And the gist of it is like when confronted with, well, why do you think Evan Mobley is good? Sometimes all you have is well, just watch him, counter, which there are worse counters like saying, well, his fantasy stats are X, Y, and Z in an argument about who's good or not. But just, saying watch the games is like the shit that we hate to hear sometimes from critics. So make the Evan Mobley case. Has he gotten better? Why do advanced numbers not like him? And like, is he actually as good as advertised? And if so, like, why and how is sort of what I feel like this question boils down to. So if the hot or not framing needs to be in place, it's like, well, basically Evan Mobley is not good because advanced stats say that he's not good.
I mean, it's too hot. I don't want to answer because I want you to answer, but I will say, I do think part of it is when you're going to spend so much time playing with another big and then two higher usage guards, that might artificially repress a lot of your advanced metrics to where just like, okay, if Evan Mobley, when he's the lone big, like, his defensive rebounding rate, I would think is going to be higher than 21. I think you're going to see someone who is like, and even I was shocked at how high his block rate is, given that he's not spending like a crap ton of time around the basket. He's still a really good rim protector. Opponents are shooting under 52% there. If I could answer, the one thing I would say is, how has he gotten better? There is like a dynamic to his offense where it's not yet efficient. And I'm not saying go watch the games, but you can even see the tick up when you're looking at just like the fadeaway jumpers, the hook shots. He's shooting 47% on hook shots. Like, this is just year two, trying to figure out a different environment. So I do think he has broadened his offensive horizons. I don't know that I have a good explanation for the advanced metrics, which I have not looked at the catch-alls yet. I normally don't start, because not all of them is released, by the way. I don't really start looking at catch-alls till like the midway point.
Yeah. I think, first of all, like, I will concede that he very much is an eye test guy. Like, if you watch enough basketball and you see enough guys his size, it just leaps off the screen. Like, there's guys don't move like him. Guys don't process at the same speed. Guys don't, they don't make the split second reactions as quickly as he does. Like, that's for sure. That's all eye test stuff. The advancement, he's in a relatively small role. Like, he's not being asked to do a ton yet. So yeah, that's going to hurt your whatever advanced metric you want to use. Like, they have different inputs all over the place. All you got to do is
usage has to be part of that too. Just like,
what's that?
it's low. His usage rate is lower than it was last season.
Right. That's the thing. Like, now you got a high usage guard that just showed up on your doorstep in Donovan Mitchell. Like, that's going to take some food off of other guys' plates. I think you can get there if you want to. And maybe this is just cherry picking, but find the advanced stat that it's not like they don't exist. Like, when I looked, he leads the league in defensive win shares. Now, win shares are kind of a problematic stat, and there are a lot of things that have overtaken them. But if you lead the league in something over a large sample, and it's like a big one like that, that's not nothing. The other thing that really stood out to me is, like, just don't worry about the counting numbers and the fantasy stats and whatever else. Like, look at the rate stats and look at how much he's playing. So let's thin slice it. There are three guys right now that are in rotations, that are playing significant minutes, that have a 59% true shooting percentage, which, like, 60 is, holy shit, you're great. He's over 59, a 15% rebound rate, 11% assist rate, 4% block rate. Two of those are Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis. The other one is Evan Mobley. So, like, take that to your friend that says Evan Mobley doesn't like rate well statistically. That's ridiculous. Now, he's not asked to do as much as those guys. So yeah, if he had to shoot 20 times a game, the true shooting percentage might be lower. Everything else is legit. So I think he's ultimately an eye test guy, but you can find the numbers that if you want to, that will corroborate that he's good. And the true shooting percentage specifically, I think he was at like under 55 last year. And so to jump from there, which is right around league average, up to, when you talk about great high usage scorers, 60 is like the golden cutoff. He's right there. So,
and his shooting percentage between 3 and 10 feet, which accounts for a lower share of his shots than last year, but they're still almost 29% of his shots. It spiked by 7 percentage points compared to
Yeah.
last season.
Yeah. Just there's I don't know about you, but I said some crazy things about Evan Mobley last year. And like if anything, I'm more optimistic this year. So I don't understand the narrative that he's disappointing or he's like the numbers don't support all the optimism around his.
I feel like people have like Bam Adebayo PTSD, and Bam Adebayo has been like thermonuclear AF lately. So that's but there's like not all the metrics love him. I look at Evan Mobley as a different type of player in the sense that one, I trust him as more of a rim protector than maybe I would Bam. And I think there's more of I don't know what the word is. Is it directionality again? There's like more of just more of an unpredictability to Evan Mobley's offense. It feels like he could be more fluid on the ball and might actually be more aggressive in time at points than Bam is going to be the better passer. I think that's going to be, maybe not, but I don't want to put a ceiling on Mobley. But I do think there's a similar case here where they do so many things also defensively and even offensively, by the way, which is moving through tight spaces. And Jared Allen does a good job of this too when you are playing with two bigs. Like being able to operate in a bunch of different ecosystems that maybe aren't conducive to the traditional setup of what your game is, especially when you're not taking threes. But that, and then just the breadth of responsibility he covers on defense, there are just things that are going to be tough to quantify. And so if, let's just say his outcome is a Bam Adebayo type player, there's no way, shape, or form is that disappointing.
Yeah, I think just the last thing on him, I think like sometimes, you say a guy's just like, with respect to him offensively in particular, sometimes you say a guy's he's just scratching the surface of what he's going to be. And sometimes that's almost like a concession that like, he kind of sucks at this right now. Hopefully he'll get better. But sometimes, and this is the case with Mobley, you say that because, once or twice a game, he'll do something at the elbow with the ball that's like, there's no fucking way a guy that size should be able to like turn, pivot, assess, like make the right drive, pass, shoot decision really quickly in the flow of the offense in ways that the defense is not prepared for. Like it's processing speed, and it's also like the physical ability to do any of those things depending on what the situation calls for. And he will do that. This is, again, sorry, it's eye test, but like he will do that occasionally, and it doesn't feel like, oh, well, that was out of character. It's more like, man, when he does that all the time, like it's over. So the surface scratching thing for him is still admittedly probably the most tantalizing aspect, but it's not speculative. It's like, it's coming. Like that's going to happen all the time, as opposed to, well, if he could only do that more often, it's like, no, he will. That's kind of that's the Evan Mobley take for me in a nutshell.